The Nymph's Reply to the Shepherd by Sir Walter Raleigh, 1552 to 1618. If all the world and love were young, and truth in every shepherd's tongue, these pretty pleasures might me move to live with thee and be thy love. Time drives the flocks from field to fold, when rivers rage and rocks grow cold, and Philomel becometh dumb, the rest complains of cares to come. The flowers do fade, and wanton fields to wayward winter reckoning yields. A honey tongue, a heart of gall, is fancy's spring, but sorrow's fall. Thy gowns, thy shoes, thy beds of roses, thy cap, thy kirtle, and thy posies, soon break, soon wither, soon forgotten, in folly ripe, in reason rotten. Thy belt of straw and ivy buds, the coral clasps and amber studs, all these in me no means can move to come to thee and be thy love. But could youth last and love still breed, had joys no date or age no need, then these delights my mind might move to live with thee and be thy love. Okay, this is a rather nice poem by Walter Raleigh. This is actually a reply to a poem called The Passionate Shepherd to His Love by Christopher Marlowe, where a shepherd declares his love for a nymph, and he asks the nymph to come and live with him and be his love. And this is the reply of the nymph to the shepherd. Sir Walter Raleigh was an explorer, particularly in the Americas, and he was also a poet and a courtier of Queen Elizabeth I. I think he's famous for bringing back tobacco from the New World. So, what's this poem about? Well, as I said, it's the reply of the nymph to the shepherd. Now, a nymph is a minor Greek deity. The nymph is a goddess of nature, or a goddess of the sea. Yeah? So, if all the world and love were young, and truth in every shepherd's tongue. So, if everything in the world were permanent, were always young, yeah, but the world isn't young, the world is old, the world has been changing. And love in the same way. Love is young, it's something that's young, but something that will change and die. And this is, I think, the main idea of the poem, that change is inevitable, that everything changes, that love is something that changes. And I think in this it's maybe rather negative, saying that love starts out with fantastic passion, but then love dies, love fades away. So, if things were permanent, and truth in every shepherd's tongue, and if all the shepherds who are romantic fools like you told the truth, they were completely truthful, these pretty pleasures might me move to live with thee and be thy love. So if things didn't change, if love were immortal, yeah, then if you really understood how the world is, then I might be moved. I might decide to come and live with you and be your love. But the world is always changing. Love always dies. And I'm not interested. Time drives the flocks from field to fold. So, the flocks of sheep. A flock of sheep is in the field, yeah, and it's eating the green grass in spring and summer. And then either at night or in winter, the sheep come into the fold, the barn, the place where they live, a place that's sheltered. Yeah, so this is saying that time moves on. Yeah, the flocks don't always stay in one place. When rivers rage and rocks grow cold. So this one's more complicated. It's talking about the fact that rivers change their course. Yeah, the rocks that were once maybe molten lava are now are become cold. I think it's got the idea of love becoming cold as well. So the world is full of change. Everything changes. And look at this nice piece of alliteration here. Rivers rage and rocks grow cold. And Philomel becometh dumb. Okay, Philomel is a character from Greek mythology. She was raped and cut up by her sister's husband. Anyway, Philomel takes revenge on the husband of her sister, her brother-in-law, and then she is turned into a nightingale. Okay, a nightingale is a bird that sings beautifully. So a nightingale can sing beautifully, but then it becomes old and it becomes dumb, it becomes unable to speak. Yeah, but you think that the nightingale can sing forever, that the rivers never move, that rocks are permanent, yeah, that the flocks are always in the fields eating the beautiful green spring grass. And then here's the but. The rest complains of cares to come. But there are other people in the world who are not so unrealistic as you are. Yeah, there are people out there who understand this and worry about what will happen in the future. The flowers do fade, and wanton fields to wayward winter reckoning yields. So, flowers in spring and summer and even autumn are beautiful, but then they fade, they lose their colour and die. And wanton fields, so fields full of crops, full of produce in summer and autumn, to wayward, to unpleasant winter reckoning. So they yield, these fields full of crops become bare in winter. Yeah, they have to reckon with winter, and winter will destroy all of the crops on the field. A honey tongue, a heart of gall, is fancy's spring, but sorrow's fall. So, a honey tongue, being able to speak beautifully, and a heart of gall. In this case, gall means impetuousness, acting very rapidly. Normally, gall we use it to mean something that is bitter. This is very galling. Yeah, gall is something that you will find in your stomach. It's something very bitter. But in this case, it's talking about impetuosity, acting without thinking. So you're talking with a honey tongue, with a tongue of silver, very well, but you're too impetuous. And impetuousness and a good tongue, is fancy's spring, is the birth of what you think is beautiful, but sorrow's fall. But the fall here talks about autumn. The Americans normally use fall for autumn, and in Elizabethan times fall was also used to talk about autumn. So yeah, these things are a wonderful, beautiful growing spring, but in autumn, later on, these things will disappear and they will result in sorrow and sadness. Thy gowns, thy shoes, thy beds of roses, thy cap, thy kirtle, and thy posies, soon break, soon wither, soon forgotten. Okay, so now she's saying, the nymph is saying, your clothes, your shoes, your beds of roses, your wonderful ideas, your cap, your hat, your kirtle. Kirtle is a coat. And thy posies. A posy is a little bunch of flowers. And very often a lover gives a bunch of posies to the person that he or she loves. Yeah? So all of these material things soon break. They fall apart. They're not permanent. Soon wither. To wither is to dry up and die. Soon forgotten. So these things aren't permanent. In folly ripe, in reason rotten. So they are full of silliness. Yeah, you don't understand. This is folly. You don't understand the reality. Yeah, so they're full of impetuous positivism, whereas in fact the logic behind them is rotten. Yeah, because nothing lasts forever. Yeah, the logic behind all of these things that look so wonderful to you, they're not valuable because they don't last. Thy belt of straw and ivy buds, the coral clasps and amber studs. So here the nymph is talking about more material things. A belt made of straw, ivy flowers, coral clasps. A clasp is something that holds something in place. It's a bit of jewellery. And amber studs. I think studs instead of buttons. So these are material things. Fashion and flowers. All these in me no means can move, to come to thee and be thy love. So all of these material things are not going to persuade me, because they don't last. Yeah, I'm not impressed by material things. And then finally the nymph says, or gives the conditions that would be perfect for the nymph to come and live with the shepherd and be the shepherd's love. But the problem is they're impossible. But could youth last? But aging is unstoppable. It's a fact of life. And love still breed. And if love lasted forever, had joys no date. So if joy was a permanent thing, if it didn't have a sell-by date, if it didn't fade, nor age no need. Okay, if we didn't age, if we didn't get old, if this wasn't a fact of life, then these delights my mind might move to live with thee and be thy love. So if youth could be eternal, if love could last forever, if joy was permanent and things didn't age, then these wonderful things would persuade me, or they might persuade me, to come and live with you and be your love. So there you go. The Nymph's Reply to the Shepherd by Sir Walter Raleigh. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.